Hello, this video is part of a series where we see how to use AI in data analysis. In our previous video, we saw how to remove duplicates using ChatGPT. Today, we're looking at handling blanks, nulls, or missing values. So here we have a data set with blanks or null cells, and we're going to see how we can use ChatGPT to handle the blanks. So we are here in ChatGPT. So this is my prompt. I have my data sets, and I'm going to specify how I want ChatGPT to handle the blanks. For now, I'm just going to consider two columns, the customer name column and the payment method column. And I'm going to tell ChatGPT to remove the rows for the customer name column where there are blanks. And when it comes to the payment method column, I want ChatGPT to replace every missing cell or a blank cell there with unknown. And then I want to see the cleaned data set. And this is the result here. Okay, so this is the results. I would have to modify my prompt because I want to preferably see the results in a table. So let me update the prompt. So here I have my new prompt, and specifically I'm telling ChatGPT to show me the original dataset as a table with the missing cells highlighted and the clean dataset also as a table. So I want a better presentation, and here I have the results, the original dataset as a table with the missing or blank cells explicitly highlighted and the cleaned dataset as a table after applying the rules. And so you can see this. You can see this here. So all the blanks are highlighted explicitly by ChatGPT, and here I have the results. So finally, I want ChatGPT to tell me how many rows they were in the original data set and how many rows are in the final data set, so I get an idea about the rows that were removed. So this is my updated prompt. And here ChatGPT tells me the original data set had 10 rows, the final data set had 8 rows, and 2 rows were removed, yes. And then for the blanks, it's showing me that on the column payment method, 2 replacements were done. The blanks were replaced by unknown. So this is how ChatGPT has handled blanks for a small data set. When it comes to small data sets, ChatGPT comes in very handy. When it comes to larger data sets, you can use ChatGPT as a guide on some of the other tools. Let's see how we can handle the blanks in Excel. So this is the data set in Excel, and we want to handle the blanks. So like we saw in ChatGPT, it's important that you define whether you want to remove the rows where you see a blank or you want to replace the blank with something else. So like we did in ChatGPT, we're going to come over to the customer name column, and what we want to do is we want to identify the blanks here and then remove the rows that have the blanks. The best way to do that is to use the filters. So I'm going to select the entire data set and I'm going to apply the filter. So I come over here and I apply the filter. So I'm going to filter on the customer name column, and I'm going to deselect and just I want to see the blanks. And this is what I have here. These are the blanks on this column, and so I'm just going to select the rows and delete them. After doing that, I will remove the filter just by selecting all, and this is what I have. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and deselect. Let me just have all the blanks and select and delete row. Okay, so I have to select the rows and delete them, not just a backspace. All right, so I come over here and then remove the filter, and then I have my data set here. And then I'm going to go over to the payment method column, which is here, and to replace the blanks with unknown, I'm going to do find and replace. So I'm going to select the column and just do Control H, and I can do my find and replace. So I'm looking for blanks and I'm going to replace them with unknown. So I can just do replace all. Oh, so it has made 12 replacements. That's because it has considered several other cells as being part of the data set. So I'm just going to go over to those areas and highlight, and then I just do a backspace. And here we see that it has replaced the blanks that were in these two cells. So we use filters when we wanted to remove all the rows, and then we use find and replace for replacement of the blank cells. So this is how we do it in Excel. So comparing Excel and ChatGPT, we see that ChatGPT is faster. We just need to write the prompts. But then we see that in Excel, we always have our data set in view. So we can always see what's happening and we can operate on it. So when it comes to ChatGPT, we're working with prompts. That gives a kind of programming feel. But when it comes to Excel, we are working with the tool, with the software. We can see our data set and maybe we are more connected to our data set. It's important to understand how to use the different tools that are available, and using them in the right situation is probably the best way to do data analysis. Next up, as a bonus, we're going to see how to do this in Power Query. So I select the entire data set, Data tab, and from Table Range. My table has headers. I click on OK. So here we have the data set in Power Query. And what Power Query has done is that wherever there are blanks, it has placed nulls there for us. So usually if they were blanks, all we needed to do would just go to remove rows and remove blank rows. But because they are nulls, what we're going to do is we use the filters on the customer underscore name column and deselect the nulls. So those rows are removed. Next, we move to the payment underscore method column. Then we go to the transform tab and select the replace values menu. In replace values, the value to find is null and the value to replace with is missing. Remember, it doesn't matter what we use. We used unknown before, now we're using missing. So this is how to remove rows in Power Query and also how to replace values in specific cells based on a condition. For MySQL, which is another bonus, we're going to use db-fido.com, and these queries were generated in ChatGPT. ChatGPT assisted me with the codes. So here I have the query to create the table, which will be called customer underscore orders, with the different columns here and the different data types. And here I have the codes, the insert query to insert data based on the data set I'm working with. And I click on run. Running the query is successfully executed. And under this query SQL section, and this code will help me inspect my data sets. First, select all from the table, inspect, and here I'm going to count the data sets, count the number of rows, and here I'm going to delete from the customer underscore name table wherever there are no values there, just like I did in ChatGPT and Excel. And here I'm going to update the column payment underscore method wherever there are no values. I'm going to set it as missing. So I'm just going to set it as missing instead, just like I did in the other cases. So I'm going to put missing there. And then finally, I'm going to count the number of rows in the updated table. So I click on run. And here I have the results. So I'm just going to maximize it. So this is the original data set here. And 10 rows counted. And finally, this is the updated data set. This is the payment method column with the values missing. And then we don't have any empty cells again on customer name, and 8 rows counted. So my final bonus is to show you how this can be done in Python. And so this is Python. I'm using collab.google.com. And so I asked ChatGPT to generate the codes for me in Python to be able to create the data sets which I've been working with. And this is the code here. First, we have to import pandas, which is our library. And then we have our data according to the different columns. These are data. And then we're going to run so we're going to create our data frame, and then we are going to inspect the first 5 rows of our data sets. So I click on run, and this is the first 5 rows of the data set. We can see the missing entries there and how Python has represented them. And then I run this using the learn function, and I see I have 10 rows. My data set has 10 rows. And just like I did in the other tools, I'm going to come over to the customer underscore name column, and I want to remove those rows where these values are blank. And so I use these functions here, and this is how it's going to check. And it has done that, executed that for me. And then next I'm going to the payment underscore method column, and I'm going to replace the blanks there with unknown. Let me just make this missing just to be consistent, but it doesn't matter, whatever string is entered here. And so I'm going to run this, successfully executed, and then finally I can view this. So I'm going to view my data frame now. So this is my data frame, and as you can see in the customer underscore name column, there are no more blanks there. And then you can see the replacements in the payment underscore method column. Finally, I'm just going to put that code there to show me how many rows I had. Remember, I had 10 rows before. Now there are 8 rows. Okay, so this is how to use Python to handle blanks, and all this code was generated in ChatGPT. So in this video, we're able to see how to use AI, specifically ChatGPT, as a tool to handle blanks in our simple data sets. And we saw that particularly we needed to do 2 things. In the first case, we needed to remove the entire row where we identify the blank. And in the second case, we needed to replace the blank cell with a particular value. We saw how to do it in ChatGPT just by writing simple prompts. And then we also saw how to do it in Excel, in Power Query, in MySQL, and in Python. AI is becoming more and more relevant in our everyday life with numerous applications. So we have seen how to do data analysis using the AI tool, and we have compared it with other tools. And then we also saw that very usefully we're able to use ChatGPT to generate the codes, the queries and the codes for the other tools. So ChatGPT was used as a guide. So is ChatGPT going to replace the other tools? Certainly not. Rather, what we have to do is understand, learn, master the concepts of data analysis, and see how we can combine AI, just like ChatGPT, with the other tools to use them efficiently. Where we need to be fast, we can just run our prompt on ChatGPT and get the results. And where we also need, we can get support from ChatGPT and do our analysis in those other tools. If you learned something new from this video, I want you to like the video, and I also want you to subscribe to this channel so you get notified about more videos that we would upload. Do check the link in the description to download all the codes we used in this video. In our next video, we will see how to clean text data. Thanks for watching.